Yeah, I'm Tessa Smith with Popternative. Thank you guys so much for taking the time.
Okay.
Hello.
Happy to meet you.
Oh my God, I loved this movie so much. I was laughing, I was crying. Like, I'm obsessed with it. It's perfect. I have no notes.
Amazing. Great.
But Tom, I gotta start with you. You're soaking wet for so much of this movie. Like,
Yeah.
did you get sick? I was very invested and worried about it.
I appreciate your concern. That's more concern than I had on set from the crew. No, it's not true. Come on. Put him in the wetsuit. I was fine. It was fine. It was fine.
Put him in the water.
There was one. There's the one scene where I have to do actually some dialogue in the water with Tim. When I was completely soaked, that was hard because I just was shivering and my body was shutting down, so that was hard. But everything else is kind of. I'm quite into it. I like swimming and chucking myself in the sea. I find that quite fun. So that was okay.
But it was almost a medical emergency. I think we did have to take his temperature a few times and let him have a bit of time out of the water. Yeah, it was potential hypothermia in there somewhere.
Yeah, but
so
yeah.
wet for so much.
Yeah.
All of the interview about that.
I think the
What
best
about you in the
thing.
bath at one point?
Actually, the best thing for me was just.
warm.
I've known Tom for a long time, but the best thing, and he's a real trooper. The best thing for me was when I was asking wardrobe to put him in the wetsuit again, and he just dried off, and then he's having to put on a whole wet, suit in the cellar scene.
Yeah, but do you know what?
Uncomfortable.
But like testament to how fun a shoot it was. I actually look back on it with fondness. I thought I did really enjoy it as a shoot, even though I was really cold and wet and uncomfortable for a lot of it. Yeah.
Well, I do love that this started as a short years ago, and all of you were involved in it. So, what was it like really getting to revisit this story and expand on it?
It was amazing, but both the story and the experience. When we did the short, it would have been 3 days, maybe.
Yeah.
3 days, and it was really fun. And we felt I don't know. We all felt immediately like we clicked as a little unit, because that was just the three of us. And the boatman who dropped him off at the start. But yeah, it was like a really fun thing. So going back to it was something that we'd wanted to do for 18 years. We liked the story, and we loved the short film we made, having watched it, since. So we knew there was something there, and we didn't want to disgrace ourselves by making a bad feature of that, which either wouldn't get made or wouldn't be good enough. So it did take 18 years, weirdly. But when we did it again, it was sort of exactly the same.
We've been doing other stuff in the meantime.
We had been doing other stuff.
I can't emphasise that enough. We haven't just been sitting
He does his
laptop.
But when we started doing it again, we shot a scene, which is quite a dramatic scene, the first scene we shot in this, and it did feel like, okay, this could be. We were happy with the script, and we're delighted we got everyone together. We also had like a great cast, and Carey Mulligan had joined. But I think you get a sense when you shoot that first scene whether you're like, we shouldn't be here, or this is so good to be back. So, it was a very emotional and warm feeling to be back doing it again.
And I think the thing that was immediately apparent is the freedom that we had. Like that we had a lot of constraints, and that we didn't have much time, and we really we were just relying on ourselves to just kind of do what we needed to do. But there was no one really telling us what it needed to be, and there was no sort of commissioner, there were no sort of executive notes about what it needed to be. We really could just feel our way through it ourselves and trust ourselves, and that's just such a lovely way to work.
James, do you have anything to add?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, for me, I guess similarly, the short film was such a rewarding experience. So being able to kind of go back creatively, and also just with the experience of the 18 years that led me back to that place, I just felt ready to be telling the story with them again at that time. So as a filmmaker, I think them also as actors playing those parts, we've just all grown a lot, and it was the right time for us to tell this story. So I'm just really happy we got to do it.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about Carey, because she's incredible as well. Great way to round out the cast. What was it like working with her?
Amazing.
Fantastic.
We made a list of who we wanted to play that part, and she was the top of it. And then she said yes. And I think what she brought was she's really she's really good at acting, but she's a really nice person, and so she was immediately part of she was one of us and was very, very fun and very easy to work with. But also, it is interesting to have Carey Mulligan in your film because you don't want to let yourself down in front of Carey Mulligan. You need to. It's like signing a really good sports player for your sports team. You're like, okay, that's now the bar, and I think that was partly why we wanted her, because she's so good. But also, maybe we would be able to try and strive to be as good as her.
And she's incredibly humble. Carey's incredibly humble and generous as a performer. So she just was present and in the scenes. You could just feel her presence, and it kind of. She's really good at observing what's happening, and I think for that character specifically, she's kind of just trying to work everything out, and she's a kind of audience's way into this world. She plays that, she drives that so beautifully that she modulates those that performance so well, where she really enjoys Charles, which Herb hasn't, and she really still loves Herb for all of his it's all there for her, and it's such a joy watching her.
Yeah, well, congratulations, guys, and thank you so much for your time. I could talk to you forever about this movie. It's so utterly charming, and I absolutely loved it, and I honestly, I left can't wait to watch it again. So,
okay, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.